Hey folks, it's Jim from the Rewind here to give you my thoughts on the new trailer for the film The Wolverine, which is one of my most anticipated films of the summer, against all odds. First, a spoilerish recap of X-Men Origins Wolverine, which happens to be the odds. In 1845, little James Logan, otherwise known as the Wolverine, accidentally kills his biological father as a child. He runs away with his half-brother Victor Creed, aka Sabretooth. Over the next century, they partake in several wars, and they're eventually inducted to prevent Team X, a group of mutants that perform tasks for Major William Stryker, until James no longer has the stomach for it. He leaves the group. Several years later, Logan is living within Canada with his girlfriend Kayla Silverfox, played by Lynn Collins, who's super sexy. Stryker visits him only to warn the mutant that his brother has been killing members of the old team. Eventually, Sabretooth kills Kayla, leaving Wolverine agonized. Then he gets the better of Wolverine in a hand-to-hand fight. Stryker offers him assistance, and Wolverine accepts the operation that will give his skeleton adamantium, a virtually indestructible metal. Stryker tells his employees to wipe Wolverine's memory during the operation, but Wolverine overhears because he has terrific hearing and escapes. I guess all this time, Stryker never bothered to learn all of Logan's abilities within the team. Shouldn't the memory wipe be a given? Shouldn't that be discussed between all the people performing the operation the night before while Wolverine was like 10 rooms down the hallway? Why say it in the room while he's there? It's like if the surgeon didn't know what task he or she was supposed to perform on the day of the surgery. Logan then stops at the Kent farm, providing comedy hour with his newly done claws in a bathroom, and heads off soon after. He meets a couple of teammates, including Black Eyed Peas' Will.I.Am as a mutant who can teleport. You know, because we haven't seen teleportation before in an X-Men flick. Okay, I know he was a character in the comics, part of the Team X, but sometimes I think Hollywood has limited creativity within action. Anyway, everyone's favorite music artist tells Drama Queen to go to place A so that he can eventually go to place B. We meet Gambit for no other reason than lame fan service, as he's underdeveloped and underused, played by Taylor Kitsch. He gets Wolverine to place B, and Wolverine finds out that his old flame isn't dead, making some deal with Stryker while using her powers of hypnosis on Wolverine. I don't think you would need hypnosis to make me fall in love with Lynn Collins from John Carter, but I digress. In any case, it all becomes some lame, contrived conspiracy to get our hero to go through with an operation which is just for another project altogether, Weapon 11, aka fan favorite Deadpool, played by Ryan Reynolds. For no good reason, Sabretooth turns on Stryker and saves his brother's life, claiming that only he is allowed to kill Wolverine, even if these two guys are indestructible and just heal 15 seconds later after any wound. The two work together and take Deadpool down in a Mortal Kombat style sequence. Sabretooth disappears. Stryker shoots Logan in the head with, I kid you not, adamantium bullets, which have some effect, but is saved by Kayla, who uses her hypnosis on Stryker and tells him to start walking in whatever direction. Kayla dies from her wounds. Wolverine wakes up with amnesia thanks to those silly bullets. Gambit shows up once again to take Wolverine elsewhere, but Wolverine declines and goes his separate way. Call me crazy, but if I had amnesia and some guy claimed to know me, I would probably go with him simply because he might be able to inform me of who I am, even if Gambit doesn't know Wolverine all that well. But that's besides the point. X-Men Origins Wolverine sucks. Plain and simple. It makes X-Men The Last Stand look like a great movie. The film came out a year after the success of both Iron Man and The Dark Knight, two films that elevated the comic book genre. There was no excuse for something as lazy, generic, and as bland as X-Men Origins Wolverine. It wasn't an X-Men film or a Wolverine movie. It was an 80s action movie with some mutants thrown in. Lame, overcomplicated plot, no character development, odd cameos from characters that I don't think anyone was anxious to see aside from, say, Gambit or Deadpool. Poorly shot action on a budget of $150 million. How could a film so expensive look like crap? I mean, look at it. It looks like it was shot in some warehouse. The claws were done with CGI and it shows, and I've said this before, but when you have two characters that collide only to heal seconds later, it sort of eliminates the tension. Even the editing was sloppy at best. In one scene, Wolverine knocks out Gambit to fight Sabretooth, but seconds later, Gambit is now no longer on the ground, but is actually on top of a building, only to jump down onto the ground and get the attention of Wolverine, a person he was originally running away from. Here's a hint. If you're trying to get away from someone who is distracted with his violent brother, use that distraction and get moving and get the hell out of there. The script is just awful, one of the worst. The funny thing is that as a standalone film, X-Men Origins Wolverine doesn't do the origin any better than the first two films, and those weren't even solely Wolverine stories. They would have been better off if they didn't try to fill those gaps and stuck with ambiguity, especially when this film creates larger gaps in logic. This movie is everything wrong with prequels. They have to hit certain plot points to tie in with the rest of the franchise, eliminating suspense suspense. I don't want to know how the producers approached this conversation. Well, we gotta have the animanium claws early on, because that's what the audience wants to see, and it looks cool, but we can't have his memory wiped within the first hour, leaving him with amnesia in the second hour with no purpose or drive. Still, he has to lose his memory at some point. I got it. He will go through the operation, but he will be shot with animanium bullets at the end, leaving him with no memory, thus no actual character arc. Brilliant. The film starts off a bit rough after this moment of cinematic bliss, but it gets a little bit better when focusing on the team dynamics of Team X. This is short-lived, however. Sadly, Wolverine leaves the team after the first 15 minutes of the film. I'll also say that Ryan Reynolds is perfectly cast as Wade Wilson, using a smarmy persona to his advantage, but he's barely in it, and when he returns, they decide to seal his mouth shut, thus making him a boring killing machine. There was potential to make this a kick-ass flick, and to be fair, there are some moments of entertainment, but they're few and far between. Not even animanium bullets or a night of drinking on Logan's level is enough to make me forget this atrocity of a film.
Go fuck yourself.
Are you going to let me finish?
You're a dick.
As bad as X-Men Origins Wolverine is, though, at least there's no cliche point where a character walks away from an explosion. What the? Oh, you gotta be fucking kidding me.